So last but not least, I'm going to try to jump into this really quick so that we can get to questions. But I also did want to thank Joan. I'm Sara Tucker from First County Bank. Joan for asking me on this panel, and I'm honored to be with Megan and Brenda. So I'm going to try to wrap together three points that Megan brought out in her talk in the other room, and also that Brenda has touched on. And those 3 points are symbiotic relationships, access to capital, and community benefit. So just a little background on First County Bank. We are a 165-year-old bank. We started in Stamford, and we've grown to 15 branches in Fairfield County. And as a mutual community bank, which is true for all the community banks that you see around you this day and age, housing, or now I should use home ownership, because Brenda said don't use the word housing. Home ownership is really in our DNA. That's how these banks grew up. That's how we make our revenue, by getting people in homes, by lending them money, whether they're lower class, middle class, whatever class, to own their first home and to continue to lend to them for housing needs or home ownership. Our chairman currently is was one of the founders of HDF and is also currently on their board. So to fit this into health and housing, I will describe to you today some of the financing that we have been able to offer that kind of dovetails with what we're talking about up here. So we are a member bank of the FHLBB, the Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston. So Ken was talking to you a little bit about that. And as a member of this organization, we are able to take advantage of certain programs that they offer. And one of these wonderful programs is called Affordable Housing Housing Program, AHP, okay? And this program supports the affordable housing needs of communities through allowing member banks, such as ours, to access funds at low interest rates and lend those funds out to organizations that are developing this type of housing or fit a certain profile. So, and we can lend that money out at very, very favorable interest rates. So this is part of those symbiotic relationships and symbiotic partnerships. So without getting into too much of the nitty-gritty here, because sometimes it's complicated to go through the actual steps of these programs, but basically this partnership has enabled First County Bank to lend housing development, construction, and renovation money to an organization called Pacific House, Inc. Pacific House, Inc., formerly known as Shelter for the Homeless, is a nonprofit organization here in Stamford, and they develop properties, and what we helped them with was developing 5 properties made up of 60 units of deeply affordable, permanent, supported housing for chronically homeless individuals. So we kind of tied these things together through providing this funding. So what is the outcome of this effort? And it's really a step-by-step thing. It's organization by organization, mission by mission. So the outcome of this particular effort is that 86 individuals were placed in this housing, 26 of whom were then able to move on to stable homes, stable housing. And then that 26 units then become available for another 26 chronically homeless. So it's kind of getting these chronically homeless into these lovely units where there's a community living room and a community kitchen. So they're kind of single occupancy. Some are more family oriented. Some of them might be, a 2 or 3 bedroom, but there's typically a community space for, food and a kitchen and a living space, and they're really lovely units, and they help to also upgrade neighborhoods because they may be taking blighted properties, or they may do a tear down. They may be taking something that really is unsightly and turning it into a functioning little community housing. So these individuals who were formerly chronically homeless now have been living independently in a safe, sustainable home. And as we have heard, the research shows that this is the first step to attaining self-sufficiency and living a healthier, more productive life. These people are now not going to the ER, they're not going to the emergency room. Pacific House also provides other services, so they may have healthcare workers coming on site and making sure that everybody's shopping for the right food. So there's all kinds of other programs and services, but the home is the key to making these folks stable, getting them jobs, and having them be productive members of society. So we as a bank and many other banks support the mission of organizations like Pacific House, because as a financial institution, Our goals are similar. It's to create a stable community, an economic engine, and a healthier community by providing stable housing. The cost of homelessness, some of these statistics I'm going to throw out there, let's do a little math, is from Pacific House. So Raphael Pagan, who's the executive director there, is amazing. So he kind of gave me some sense of what the cost saving is by providing stable housing. So without stable housing, a homeless individual can cost the community or cost Pacific House to house them in a shelter $75,000 per year per individual. But with this stable housing and these stable housing home units, it costs Pacific House $25,000 per individual per year to give them a home. And so the savings, obviously, $50,000 per year per individual. If you figure that out for these 86 individuals over the multi-year that we did this, it saved the community, it saved Stamford about $13 million. So this just, feeds right into, again, the access to capital, stabilizes the community. So the bottom line is that these individuals are living healthier lives and are more productive members of society as a result of the housing initiative that Pacific House started and the access to capital provided through programs like the AHP at the Federal Home Loan Bank. And I think we can open it up to questions.